They won't make a statue for Pam Garrett. No downtown bronze cast in her image, no congressional medal, no ribbon gala where some bank executive claps her on the back and says thanks for raising the next generation of thinkers. And that is, of course, the tragic joke of it all. Because if we're honest, and God help us, that's rare, we'd admit the truth. Nations do not survive by the strength of their armies or the noise of their politicians. They survive because someone somewhere taught a child how to read, how to question, how to feel. We don't pay them well, we don't protect them. We ask them to be babysitters and social workers, disciplinarians and cheerleaders, therapists and mediators and nurses and sometimes martyrs, and we give them standardized tests to measure their miracles. It is a wild, merciless, thankless profession, and still there are those who choose it. They step into classrooms with broken air conditioners and crumbling ceilings and more trauma per square foot than a battlefield tent. They come armed with a red pen, a chipped coffee mug, and the sheer force of belief. Belief that a stubborn teenager can become a philosopher, and that a quiet child can become a voice for others, that a lost one can be found. 2 such sorcerers made their way into my life, though I'm not sure I ever deserved them. The first was Nancy Horner, my biology teacher by trade, but truth be told, a theologian of mercy in disguise. I was not easy. I called it inquisitive then, defiant in the name of curiosity, but let's not sugarcoat it. I was an asshole. I was loud and argumentative. I bristled at authority, not out of principle, but out of sheer adolescent arrogance. And she could have easily written me off and sent me to the hallway or the principal's office or the great abyss if you're not worth it. But she didn't. She forgave, quietly and repeatedly. She treated me like a soul, not a problem, and in doing so, she showed me something far beyond chloroplast and mitosis. She showed me grace. The kind that doesn't lecture or condescend, but simply remains kind when kindness is unwarranted. And that stuck with me. It burrowed deep, because when someone sees your worst and chooses patience anyway, you remember it. It becomes a mirror you hold to yourself later when you're trying to be better. And then Miss Pam Garrett, my God. She's the reason you're listening to these words now. You can blame her. She saw something in me, or maybe she saw it in everyone, which is more beautiful still, but I was too foolish to know the difference. She told me I had a voice worth hearing, that my strange thoughts, my wild metaphors, my agitated prose were not madness but music. And what a thing for a young person to be told that their voice matters. What a defiant revolutionary act. She gave me Vonnegut and Thoreau. She handed me the kindling for a lifelong fire and stood back smiling as I tried to set the world ablaze. She made literature feel like rebellion, like truth, like a lifeline. She taught me that stories are not simply written, they're lived, and we all get to decide what kind we'll tell. Now the truth is probably this: Miss Garrett lit that fire in every student. That's what the great ones do. They don't sculpt statues of themselves and their pupils. They plant seeds in the dark and trust that someday, maybe long after the bell is rung, something green will grow. But in my selfish, grateful heart, it felt like she was talking only to me. And I've spent every page since trying to earn that faith. So this is for them, and for every educator who ever dared to believe in a student the world had given up on. For those who stayed late, who noticed the bruises, who slipped granola bars into backpacks, who wrote college recommendation letters for kids who never thought they'd go. For those who held trembling hands during final exams, and for those who fought the school board so a child could read Beloved instead of some whitewashed swill. You are the breath behind every idea, the unseen hand that guides every pen stroke, every equation, every line of poetry shouted at a protest or whispered in a journal. You are the quiet revolutionaries building civilization one child at a time, and you do it without fanfare, without reward. You do it because you believe, foolishly, divinely, and unshakably in the human spirit. And if there is heaven, it is staffed entirely by teachers. And if there is any justice left in this bruised and bloodied republic, it is owed to them. So thank you. Thank you for loving us before we were lovable. Thank you for teaching us more than subjects. And thank you for giving us yourselves. Words fail, but I hope they echo. Defiance still dead.